What's good, y'all? It's your boy Nick. We over here at Evans Diamond in Berkeley, California. I'm about to sit down with the one and only Tyson Ross, Oakland Zone, former All-Star, founder of Loyal to My Soil. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Welcome to No Agenda, baby.
What's up, y'all? It's Tyson Ross. We're here with No Agenda today at Cal Berkeley, going to talk about baseball, life, giving back to the community, all the things I care about. Join us for this episode.
Welcome to the show. This is No Agenda. Got my guy Tyson Ross today. Let him know who we're with today. Just give a little background on kind of like what you just told me.
Yeah, Tyson Ross, born in Berkeley, grew up in Oakland. We're here today at University of California, Berkeley, my second home. Just a Bay kid that was living the dream for a long time playing baseball, and now we're here.
Born in Berkeley, grew up in Oakland. I didn't know you were born in Berkeley, actually. That makes it cool that you went here, too.
Out to Batesman down the street.
Hey, yes, sir. Same, right? That's hella funny. Talk a little bit about life growing up in Oakland. Everyone has a certain image about Oakland, so it's always interesting to hear people, especially you, played a long time in the MLB, somebody who made it out and just doing good things in life. Talk a little bit about your upbringing and what it was like growing up out here.
Yeah, I was the oldest of three growing up in Oakland. Had a great childhood. Lots of great memories, good sports teams, playing baseball down in East Oakland at Greenman. That was my childhood in an essence, really. I mean, I was down there from sun up to sundown most days in the summer and spring. And, we had a great community, tons of parents helping out, tons of kids out there having fun. You'd go watch your younger sibling play, then you'd go play pickup down the line, play rundown. You'd go watch the older kids play on the big diamond, do their thing. And I've had a lot of days out in the dirt down there, and it was a great childhood.
Did you play any other sports, or was it just kind of mainly baseball from the beginning?
Baseball was my love. I played soccer as a kid, and then, I did some hoops. I was tall, I could jump a little bit. My jumper was terrible, but, I played a little bit freshman year at O'Dowd, and then baseball kind of took over from there.
Dope.
Yeah.
So you kind of already alluded to it, but playing Oakland Babe Ruth, I played in the league as well. It's sad to see what's happening to it nowadays, but I'm hopeful that at some point it's going to have a comeback and just bring more life, not just to Oakland Babe Ruth, but Oakland itself. Talk a little bit about the importance of that league on you and how it impacted your childhood. You kind of already broke it down of like a day in the life there, but do you have any stories from back then that still resonate with you to this day, or just why does it have so much meaning to you? Obviously playing at 66, we'll get into that later, but Greenman Field, legendary field, but do you have any stories specifically that you still remember to this day?
Yeah, I mean, it's just growing up playing baseball, it was kind of that equalizer. Like any kid with any size, whatever your ability was, you had the opportunity to make the most of it and find a way to play your game. And out there, people were playing with passion. Like people talk about let the kids play now, show emotion, everything. Like Greenman was crazy back in the day. And it was fun. It was like passionate. People were out there doing their thing. And so I think it was the sense of community where you had the ability to look up, whether it was 2 years, 4 years, 6 years older than you, and watch people that were playing, whether it was like the CNS Braves back in the day when I was 12, or they were 12-year-olds and they were a show to see, playing on the big diamond under the lights at night. Or you take it a step back, like I looked up to Johnny Ash, who was like 4 or 5 years older. He went to Bishop O'Dowd, then he went on to Stanford, then he got drafted by the Astros. Or just 2 years older than me, I had Steve Singleton, who I played with. I played up to play with Steve, followed him to O'Dowd. He went to USD. And so I saw this pipeline of people that were going step by step to the next levels. And they kind of basically left breadcrumbs for the path for me to walk. And me as the oldest, I was able to do the same for my brother, who's 6 years younger. But I think that was it, man. It was just like people were playing with passion, people were having fun. It was the first time I got to travel, being an 11-year-old playing up. We went to the Babe Ruth World
Yes,
Series
sir.
in '98.
Was it
So
in Utah at the time? Where was it?
no, we went to Vincennes, Indiana.
Oh, wow. You
So
guys
yeah,
all over the
yeah.
place.
No, they had a group of kids from Oakland. We were playing hide and seek in cornfields,
Oh,
and
sweet.
like just
In
different
Indiana,
experiences.
that's
So it
crazy.
was cool because like back in the day you had those blue satin like all-star jackets with
I
Oakland
have one.
across the front.
I have a. They gave us the white one with the Oakland All Stars on the back.
Yep.
I still have it. It doesn't fit anymore,
Yeah.
but still
But
have it to this
when
day.
you leave town, you put that on, you're representing the town,
Oh,
and it's serious, man. It's a lot of fun, and the best part about it is, I'm 37 right now, and I still have plenty of friends from those days back in the dirt at Greenman, and we got that shared respect for each other, knowing that we grew up in the same place. We all are different walks of life right now, but ultimately we know we came from the same place, we have the same values, and had the same experiences. So that's the magic of Greenman.
I think the biggest thing from what you just said is the childhood friendships that still, regardless of whatever they get into, doesn't. You obviously played baseball in the big leagues, but the guys who didn't, you're still in communication with them. Still to this day, talk about. You're 37. You're talking about Oakland Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
You were
no, for sure.
9, 10, 11 years old, and it resonates with me because I'm gonna just let you know and give you your flowers right now because I was one of those kids looking up to not just you but your brother, and just the list goes on of players who played in that league, not just in Oakland Babe Ruth, but in Oakland itself. And I wouldn't have played at the level I did or I'm playing at if it weren't for guys like you, Joe, Nico was playing at the same time, but just setting the standard and keeping the history alive. And I feel like that's almost died to this day, which is sad. And so we have to find a way to rejuvenate it in the area.
Yeah,
And
no, definitely. And I mean, like with us, when did we first meet? 3, 4 years
yeah,
ago?
exactly.
Like, so you have the ability through the game of baseball, through understanding Oakland, to look to someone that you've never met, but have them be that beacon of light.
There's a
You know what I
common,
mean? Just
yeah,
be like, okay, he's doing it, I can do it. Like I'm gonna aspire to be like I was like aspiring to be like Dontrell Willis and Jimmy Rollins and
exactly.
CC Sabathia, and I didn't get to meet them until much later in life. But all I needed to know is they came from the Bay and they were doing it, and that
It's
I could
something
do it
you
too.
get to see something tangible. And I went to O'Dowd as well, so I knew your story already. I knew Joe's story. Joe was getting drafted my 8th grade year, so that's what I
Okay.
was. That was my intro.
Yep.
And then obviously you're a kid, you find out all the different things about. Oh, he played Oakland Babe Ruth as well. He played here. He played there. That alone can inspire a kid to be great in whatever they're doing. That doesn't just have to be baseball. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Baseball
Um,
is just one
it's
one
one avenue.
one small part of life. Yeah.
Yeah. Building off of that, what staying on the childhood area, who are some of your biggest inspirations? You talked about Dontrell Willis, Jimmy Rollins. They're a little bit older than you, but just biggest inspirations maybe on the field, but also off the field as well. Like it could be a teacher,
Yeah.
parent, coach,
Yeah.
and maybe some players that you looked up to.
Okay. Within the game, definitely, D Train, J Roll, CC, seeing those guys be from the Bay and do it at the major league level, huge. A couple steps ahead of me was Johnny Ash and Steve Singleton, just because I was able to engage with them on the field, look up to them, go down to Stanford, watch Johnny play when I was in middle school, see what that next level looked like. But then, like I said, baseball is one small sliver. Like I went to a school, Northern Lights in the Oakland Hills, and Michelle Lewis, the director over there, huge impact on me and tons of other people. I mean, it's funny. It's a small school, but everyone that came out of there is doing amazing things in
Yeah.
life. All different paths, but all making an impact in their own way. And it was different because I remember watching documentary probably in like 3rd, 4th grade about Muhammad Ali. I think it was called like When We Were Kings, and it's just talking about like his legacy, who he was as an athlete, but more important, who he was as like an ambassador for human beings, and what he stood on, and just the values that he carried through life. And that made a really big impact on me as a kid because I was like, okay, this is the best. He's the champ, but he's also doing all these other things. And
It's
like,
bigger than boxing.
yes,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, and Ali's one of those guys that I've always looked up to just because of that, and learning about him at an early age, and the impact that he's had on so many people.
I love it. It makes sense hearing that, knowing what you're doing in the community now, but it's just cool and it's I'm sure the viewers will like hearing different stories like that. And now they can look into a guy like Muhammad Ali or Johnny Ash, guys that you're naming, obviously Dontrell Willis, Jimmy Rollins, different guys, and try and just learn their stories and try and find inspiration from whatever they've accomplished. So, all right, building off of that, you went to O'Dowd, obviously. What was it like up at O'Dowd playing in Oakland, but just also playing at Cal as well? So to kind of put it into one, playing at O'Dowd and then being recruited to Cal, and what made you pick Cal specifically?
Okay. Yeah, playing O'Dowd was fun. You know, I had some really good teammates. We had a good team. You know, tons of fun out there. It was an interesting time because in the league we were in the Hayward Area Athletic
Yeah,
League.
how?
You know, it's like we had Bishop O'Dowd and Moreau Catholic were the only two private schools, and then it was all public schools. We were the only two fields that had fences. You know, like you could hit a ball 400 feet and someone would catch it.
Hayward
Like,
High, baby.
yeah, actually, let me think. My sophomore year, I remember we were playing against San Leandro, and they had Jared Page in center, and they had Dennis Dixon in left. And
Okay.
like I mean, dudes were dropping bombs, and they're just head down, camping under it, like basket catch. You know, thank you for that.
Like,
F9.
what do I got to do?
Yeah, it's just like it's crazy, but it was a lot of fun. You know, good education definitely set me up academically to be able to succeed at the next level. But also just, you know, you're in East Oakland right there. You're right there on 98th, but you have this nice little bubble of like you're concentrated with other people that are studious. They're, you know, athletically minded, and it was just kind of like a good place to grow up.
Great academics too.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'll always remember from O'Dowd is just the standard they set, and they hold you to it. You literally cannot fall out of it, and it helps. I'm sure you'll feel the same. It helps once you get to college, and then even in your regular life, it sets the standard.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So what made you pick Cal specifically, and how was the recruiting process out of being a local guy? What was it like? Was that like one of your top choices, and why did you pick it?
Yeah, I grew up here. Like I
Yeah.
said earlier in the opening clip, like this is my second home. My mom went to Cal. I was born down the street. I went to Cal sports camps. I used to go to baseball camps back in the day. I used to go to sports camps
Yeah.
up top on the rugby field in the summer. Like I was here all the time. We'd go to Cal basketball games. I remember watching Tony Gonzalez hoop back in the
tight
day.
end,
Like,
baby.
yeah, go to Cal baseball games. You know, I had my 13th birthday there. Like I got a
Oh,
picture
wow.
with Coach Esker, who then became my coach.
That's funny.
You know, 7 years later or whatever. So, I mean, this was always near dear to my heart. And then being the oldest of three, I had opportunities to go all different schools, you know, as I matured in high school and was becoming kind of a dude. But I knew I couldn't just pack up and leave and be gone. Like I had a sister that was a year and a half younger, and then I had a brother that's 6 years younger. And, you know, I could have gone, you know, across the country and just seen them at Christmas and Thanksgiving, but I wanted to be still in the mix. And, you know, Berkeley's far enough from home that you weren't, you know, you got your own space, but it's
I love it. It's
yeah.
perfect.
So
it's
it
the
was
perfect distance.
It was a good fit, man. And I mean, honestly, like the conference, the Pac-10 at the time was outstanding for baseball. The coaches I vibed with, and I mean, it's one thing now, especially with kids. It's like the recruiting process is crazy, but like looking back on it, the only time you really pick who you want to play for is when you make that choice of what
that
school to
initial
go to.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I picked right. David Esker was a fantastic human being, good coach. And, you know, he was who he presented himself as. You know, when you come in on a recruiting trip, someone's going to put on their face and say all the right things and try and get you to commit. But like when the door closes, like, does he have that same face on, or does he peel it off and he, you know, a whole different person waiting behind that door, you know?
Makes sense. Did you have any opportunities for pro ball out of high school, or was it more you knew you were going to Cal, you were set on it?
There was some interest. I mean, I was 6'4", 6'5", like 180 pounds. I thought I could hit and couldn't hit, but like, I mean, I could hit decent, but I couldn't hit really good pitching. So people didn't really know what I was going to be yet.
Yeah.
You know,
How tall were you at the time?
I was like 6'4", 6'5".
Okay, so yeah.
And so I really didn't start pitching until like junior, senior year, like focus on pitching.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of just like, I'll play anywhere on the infield and then throw some innings in the summer and just, you know, get us through games. But I was kind of a late bloomer when it comes to being a pitcher, and that's why. You know, coming to Cal, I had the opportunity to just, you know, initially they're like, you could be a two-way if you want. And after a couple of weeks, I was like, these dudes are really good. Like, let me focus on pitching and actually learn this craft. And so I made the right choice.
So building off of that, what was your time at Cal like? What were some of your core memories of just being up here before the draft and everything, before you started on your professional journey? How was your time here?
I loved it, man. It was a perfect choice for me. I mean, as a young player that wanted to develop into a pitcher, my freshman year I got here and we had Brandon Morrow, who ended up, I think he was
Okay.
like third overall
Yeah.
uh, in that 2006 draft. And so I got to watch him and learn from him every single day. Watch him pitch on Fridays, and then I was pitching Sundays, and then eventually Saturdays as a freshman. Like like seeing what the best do up close and personal is the best way to learn. And so I had someone like that, you know, in the dugout right next to me. So it was a perfect opportunity for me. And then my freshman year was crazy because we had 9 teams in the conference and we had 10 first round picks, all pitchers.
Oh, wow.
So it was like Lincecum was at Washington, Ian Kennedy was at
Oh, that
SC.
was your freshman
That
year?
was my freshman year. Huff and Ambrose were at UCLA. ASU had a guy throwing 95, 96. Reynolds down at Stanford. Morrow here. So like
Dogs.
I saw what it looked like to be that dude, you know. And so I knew, okay, this is where the bar is. I got 3 years to get there, and I was pitching as a freshman. So I got, you know, I took my lumps and
You
you
came
know,
in and were starting right away?
hmm
Nice.
but you know, I was an 18-year-old playing against grown men, and
Yeah.
you know, like I had to figure out how to get outs and what was my strengths, what were my weaknesses, where do I go. But it was a great experience for me. So I got to develop. I had a, you know, opportunity to do some cool things over the summer, playing with Team USA and traveling the world a little bit. And just ultimately, like I had 3 years of development to get ready for, you know, ultimately leaving after my junior season.
So leading up to your junior year in the draft, what were some of maybe the emotions going through your head, and how did you attack that junior year leading up to the draft?
I mean, it was all new and unknown. I
Yeah,
mean, it's much different than now. We didn't have social media with people sharing their journeys
completely
or
different.
anything,
Yeah,
and like people didn't talk about mental health,
yeah,
like the stress and anxiety of
what you're going through.
of dealing with, yeah, like all of a sudden people are talking about like projecting you for a first round draft pick, and scouts are
The
asking you about
noise.
money and this and that, and you start putting pressure on yourself, and you're like, well, if I'm throwing 94 right now, what happens if I, you
Yeah,
know, put my foot down and start throwing 96, 97? And so actually it led to me injuring myself going into my junior year because I was trying to throw harder and do more than I needed to do, when in reality, like if I could have replicated what I did as a sophomore, it would have just been another stupid year.
yeah.
But so I kind of limped through that junior year, but it all worked out in the end because it allowed me to fall to the second round. I got to get drafted by the hometown team, the Oakland A's, and be in a position where like they were excited to have me because they knew what my potential was, and they were just like, okay, if we can get this guy healthy and let him be him, it's going to be something different.
So during your time, so you got drafted by the A's, which is dope, by the way, hometown guy. What was your minor league experience like, and how was it? Do you have a big league call-up story of any kind, or just how did you find out the news? Or just talk a little bit about going from A ball to the league.
Okay. Yeah. So my journey through the minor leagues was different. I mean, most guys take 5, 6, some guys even like a decade, just grinding it out, going level by level, sometimes repeating. For me, it was one full season in the minor leagues. I got drafted in June, played a half a season. You know, I went to they sent the high draft picks out of college straight to low A. We played like 2.5 months on the back end, and then they sent me to Stockton, which was high at the time, for their postseason. So my first half season ended up winning the Cal League with that team in Stockton. Next year came back, you know, went into it, repeated at Stockton to start the first half, went to Double A, and when I got to Double A, that's when it all kind of clicked. I was around people that were more advanced. I had a good pitching coach who's actually the pitching coach now for the A's. You know, he taught me to be a student of the game. We worked on some pitch development stuff that was like, you know, caveman stuff now, but
Yeah.
compared to what they got with the technology. But you know, he allowed me to kind of grow into being a real pitcher and a student of the game, and that's where, you know, things took off. And I think my last 36 innings or something, I gave up like 1 or 2 runs in Double A. We won the Texas League. Our team was stacked. We had Chris Carter. We had,
Oh, for
you know,
real.
Josh Donaldson was my catcher.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it was wild. And so we had some dudes on that team. Ended up winning it, and the next year came into camp, spring training with the big league team. And like, you know, I think the last game of the year I threw like 7 innings in the rain or something stupid, and you know, we won the Texas League championship. And so everyone was talking about like, oh, this rain game, this rain game. And I was just in the bullpen, you know, taking garbage innings in spring training, and you know, put up a zero, put up 2 zeros, whatever. And you know, all of a sudden it's the end of March,
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, we're going to do the Bay Bridge series, like come with us. And so for me, I was excited because
Hell yeah.
Double A
Back home.
was Midland, Texas, and I had nightmares about going back to Midland because it was just terrible. It was the furthest thing from Oakland and the Bay as possible, right? And so that was my motivation all off season, all my training. All those days I didn't want to get up and out of bed and train. Like I was like, no, I'm not going back to Midland. If I am, I'm not staying there long. And so when they brought me to the Bay Bridge series, I was like, cool. Worst case scenario, like I'm going to AAA, which is Sacramento. And the Bay Bridge series came and went, and I'm the last one in the locker room. They're pulling everyone in, and they call me in, and Bob Guerin, who's now the bench coach with the Dodgers. He's like, "Hey, congratulations, you made the club." And I'm like, I wasn't even listening because I'm like, cool. I got like a day. I'm gonna drive up to Sac tomorrow, and find an apartment and do all this. Excited, I don't have to go back to Double A. But little did I know, I was a big leaguer at that moment.
That's dope. No, that's cool to hear. Looking back at that experience, do you have any advice to someone who just got drafted, or just if you could go back and talk to your younger self, just got drafted, about to go through the minor league system, what would your main advice be?
You've got one shot, and just make the most of it. Be a student of the game, take everything seriously, because you don't want to waste that opportunity to be on the outside looking in and saying, how do I get back into that organization? How do I get a chance? You got to run your race.
Yeah.
Whatever you're good at, that's why you're there. You got to maximize those strengths. Whatever you're weak at, that's going to be the thing ultimately that holds you back. Like for me, I had good stuff. I figured out how to create swing and miss at the minor league level, and it worked in high A, Double A, skip Triple A, because I could make people miss. But once you get to the season, it's not spring training anymore. They've got scouting reports, they got video, the hitters are more disciplined, and all of a sudden, my weakness was I wasn't able to really execute the way I wanted to. I had big stuff, but they're like, yeah, that's a ball, whatever. Like every now and then you get someone to chase, but it's like, okay, you're not getting 3 chases in a row against the best in the world. And so if you can maximize the thing that you already do well, but then also understand I got to pay attention to those little things, those ugly sides of my game that I try and hide, and improve on those, because ultimately if you raise the floor, you'll be in a better place.
No, I like that. That's a good one. Definitely good advice for those watching this. And that goes for hitters, pitch, however you're looking at it.
Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah. So when you were with the A's, you wore 66. Give a little breakdown for those that aren't from Oakland or aware, the meaning behind that, why you did it, some of the thought process behind. Did you even get to pick it? I'm sure you picked it.
I mean, shouts out to Steve Vucinich. He knew where I came from, and 66 is where Greenman Field is. It's less than a mile from the Coliseum, and a cool part about it is, as a rookie, I was able to drive past that field every day on my way down to the Coliseum. So I took a little bit of a detour, but it was something cool where, whether I had a good game, bad game the day before, I could look out the window and know that I'm that kid that grew up on this field right here that's going to work to live out that dream. And so, I mean, it's cool because I've kept that near and dear to my heart my whole journey. And even if I wasn't with the A's driving past the Coliseum, I would have still known where I came from and where I first fell in love with the game, and why it was so important to me.
No, it's a dope story. I'm one of those kids that knew that story and obviously kept pursuing the game. So just want to give you your flowers on that.
Appreciate it.
Do you have obviously you played a long time. Do you have looking back, do you have a welcome to the big leagues moment where you were like, either you struck somebody out or somebody hit a bomb off you, or just the zone, any type of memory that you were like, yeah, this is the show?
Yeah, I mean, probably in my debut, I didn't pitch for the first 7 or 8 games of the season. So I was like, I don't even know if I'm active. I'm sitting in the bullpen every day, but they've even mentioned my name once, right? And we were playing the Mariners at home, and I get the call early in the game. I think Justin Dusher had a bad hip or something, and so there was plenty of opportunity. They knew they needed someone with length in the bullpen, and so I had a built-up pitch count. And so, I'm warming up, no nerves, I'm cool. I've never actually pitched on a big league mound before in a game. Jogging out, fine, I'm on the mound, and then I hear Ray King announce and making his major league debut, number 66, and I was like, oh shit, this is real.
Yes,
Just goosebumps, and it's funny because people watch baseball, no one knows what it really feels like to be on that field, in the batter's box, on the mound, and have the lights on, and have that third deck filled with people. And so at that moment, I was like, shit, man, I better just throw a strike. And I threw the first pitch. I came in with a runner on first, which I never came in relief in my life, really. So I come in, throw the first one as hard as I can right down the middle, get a swing and miss. But the guy on first base literally walked to second. I didn't check him, nothing. So like I'm 0 for 1 on controlling the running game. But I was able to come in that outing, get out of that inning. I punched out the first batter I faced, and then later in the game, punched out Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, wow.
And so like it was like a 3-2 sinker. Threw it, he swung and missed, and I was like, oh shit, because I'm a kid that played Ken Griffey Jr. baseball on Nintendo 64, and now I've seen that swing a million times. I haven't seen it swing and miss much, but like I'm the one that threw that pitch, and that was a crazy moment for me just in that debut.
No, I love it. It's cool to hear. It was at the Coliseum
at
too?
The Coliseum, yeah.
That's sweet. All right, looking back on, you played a long time. What, 10 years?
Like 9, yeah.
9. So, what are some of your? You obviously made the All-Star team. Dealt with different injuries. Have a bunch of different memories. What are some of your main takeaways, or just main things you learned from your time playing in the show?
I think if you pay attention, you'll see something new every single day. That's kind of the magic of baseball.
Yeah.
It's fun because like you'll be watching a game and you got 162 in a season, and think about like guys that played 10, 20 years, like how many games and innings they've actually seen. But if you're paying attention, every day you'll see something new, and it's pretty fascinating to pick up on those little nuances of the game and just little oddities that happen where you're like, was that a glitch in the matrix? You know what I mean? But yeah, like reflecting on it, it's all about like the people and relationships and experiences that you have while you go through it. There's plenty of guys that succeed and fail, and at the end of the day, all we have are those memories. And like I love that I can pick up my phone and shoot a text joke to a trainer or coach or a former teammate of mine from an inside joke from a decade ago and get a response right back. And it's like we're still in the clubhouse in 2013, 2014, you know what I mean? So it's like that's what really matters when you play this game from childhood through adulthood. Those experiences, those relationships that you build, and those shared memories with people. And that's the beauty of it.
Building off of that, there's something cool about you and your family. Is just he's not the only big leaguer from his family. His brother Joe is also in the show right now. What's it been like watching his journey? And just, you were at his MLB debut, I believe. So what's it been like to see him obviously grow up but get drafted, go through the system, make it to the show, win a World Series, started a game in the World Series too, deal with injuries, just see his progression. What's that been like?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's really cool because, he's 6 years younger than me. He's had access to everything I was learning, doing training-wise at a 6 years advantage, you know what I mean? So, like, when I was drafted and I started going training at Sparta and Menlo Park, and, working out with world-class athletes, he was driving down from high school and doing the same thing. And so he's had those breadcrumbs left for him, and he's gobbled them up and moved along the path and done a tremendous job. I mean, he just signed with the Philadelphia Phillies, and he's creating his own path and his own journey in life, which is amazing. And I mean, for us to just have that shared dream of trying to be big leaguers and be able to achieve that to different levels is pretty phenomenal. And I think, when I went through it and I didn't have anyone directly to look to other than those people off in the distance that I knew were from the same area, he was coming up through it and coming to the players' lot and watching games, as many times as he wanted, because I was a rookie when he was in high school. He was getting exposed. He saw the reality of it. But at the same time, he had to deal with the external pressures of people saying, you're not as good as your brother. And he did a tremendous job of like, yeah, he's a kid. He's 16. He's, he didn't hit his growth spurt till later in high school. And then he really blew up and, launched himself into pro ball out of high school, which is, not an easy path.
No, not at all.
But all that to say, like we've had different journeys, but we've reached the same destination. And I'm proud of him and everything he's achieved in the game. And it's, like I didn't say it when I was playing, but like I told my wife, I'm like, shit's not easy. It's fucking hard.
No, exactly.
Like,
it is.
Like when you're playing, you don't want to admit it because you're just like, all right, if I let my guard down or say it's hard, like all of a sudden
it's gonna go downhill.
Yeah. Like I'm, that little voice in the back of your head, be like, yeah, it is hard. Like
quit.
It's okay to get hit, or throwing strikes is hard, but like when you're out of it, you're like, yeah, it's fucking hard, man. And he's still doing it. He's bounced back from multiple injuries. I think earlier I mentioned how hard it was for me to like go 2 years without playing and still compete. he did that after his second TJ and came back and had the year he had with Milwaukee last year. And so it's pretty remarkable to see, you know, the list of people that bounce back from 2 TJs is really small. And then if you look at the
Facts.
amount of time that he missed also, you know,
It's
it's
hard.
pretty rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, hats off to him, and I'm excited to continue to watch his journey because, you know, we've been walking the same path. There were a few times where I got to cross over and watch. I remember watching him as a high school senior. You know, Gio Gonzalez and I went down to San Leandro Ballpark and watched him
Oh,
pitch
wow.
one night game back in the day. You know what I mean? And then the next time I literally saw him pitch in a game was his major league debut 4 or 5 years later. And so, you know, I'm always a fan of Joe, and I'm excited for his future.
That's dope. Shout out Joe, World
Yeah.
Series champ. All right, little bit off of baseball now. What has life looked like for you since you stopped playing? Obviously, you're with the Dodgers now in a coaching role, but what has life looked like since you hung them up?
Yeah. It's never easy for people to move from one phase of life to another. For me, I actually came back here. That was always my exit strategy, if
Yeah.
you will. You know what I mean? Like I left after my junior year. I probably could have got a few more credits while I was on campus the first time, but my priorities were on the baseball field. But I knew when I was done, I wanted to come back and finish my degree, and that's what I did in 2021 and graduated in 2023 in January.
Dope.
And essentially,
Congrats.
you know, I used that year and a half of you know, okay, let me get my feet back on the ground. Let me get adjusted to life outside of the game and see what comes up. And, you know, within that, I went back to school. Much different experience than when I was here 13 years prior.
I can only imagine.
And, you know, I felt like a dinosaur at times, but, you know, I struggled through it, and I appreciate, you know, the university for allowing me to come back and finish my degree. And it's like, I'm one of those people, I got to finish what I start kind of
Yes,
thing.
sir.
It'll just bug me and bug me and bug me.
To the
And
day
so,
you die.
yeah, so I was able to do that, and then also just working with kids and telling people like the importance of education, and like when you're trying to play in high school and get to the next level, like grades are important. You want to keep all your options open. But then for me to come to college, play 3 years and leave and just leave it unfinished, I'm like, dude, that's not cool. So there's a lot of people that have the opportunity. School's not going anywhere. These buildings are going to be here for 100 years.
Facts.
Like you can go back and get your education and get something out of it, and you know that degree is never going to be taken away from me, which is pretty cool.
What'd you graduate in? What was the focus?
So my major was American Studies with a concentration in race, ethnicity, and nation.
Okay.
So I wrote my senior paper was on baseball's black decline, looking at what's going on in the
Good
major
topic.
leagues, why there's what does 7% of Major League Baseball being black in 2022, what is the impact on the local communities? And so I did a case study looking at Greenman, you know, compared it to Tampa, Chicago, all these communities across the nation where, you know, baseball in the black community was dying out, and what were the reasons for it? It's travel ball, it's the cost of the game, it's lack of coaches, and that, you know, if you look up to the major league level, you don't have the same percentage of ball players to look up to, so people gravitate towards other sports.
Declining.
Yeah, so ultimately, I was able to, you know, do the academic side of researching what's going on in the community, why is the game dying out, and then partner that with, you know, starting Loyal to My Soil, the charity here in the Bay Area that's giving back, that's trying to regrow the game from the grassroots, and yeah, so it gave me like the academic research side to it, in addition to just the
You're well versed.
experience in the field, and just a better understanding of like what is this beast that we're trying to tame, and why are we trying to turn
What were
it around?
some of the main, like your main takeaways from that study? Like if you were to dumb it down for the viewers out there.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's a labor issue, right? It's like back in the day with Jackie Robinson, teams went to him, but prior to free agency, but teams went into the Negro Leagues, took players, didn't pay the clubs, and they basically got free labor. So now they had new players in their system that were talented, that they didn't have to pay very much. And all of a sudden, the shift in baseball went from, you know, 0% black to, I think in the 70s or 80s, it was like, and maybe even up to the 90s, it was like up to like
Wasn't that its peak?
at its peak.
Yeah.
And so you get to that era, and then all of a sudden what happens? Teams start building academies down in the Dominican Republic and getting even cheaper labor down there. MLB starts to get free agency and all this. So they go down to the Dominican where they can get, you know, 10 Latin American players and bring them over for the price of one American that you got to sign out of high school or college. And so it's it's a business.
It's a cycle too.
Yeah, it's like, how do you maximize profits? If you can cut out your biggest expense, which is personnel, still get good players at cheap in bulk, it makes sense. But ultimately, what happened was, all of a sudden, it hurt the communities here, because all these players that used to be in the big leagues playing, kids looked up to them, aspired to be like him. Everyone wants to be like Steph Curry, which is great. But for baseball, I think baseball is a unique game where there's so many life lessons that are learned on that diamond. You deal with adversity. You've got to be a good teammate. Like I said earlier, like there's different ways to play the game based on your unique skill set and what your talents are. And when you're a kid, if you're big, you can bully someone in football and basketball, but on a baseball field, you can be Jose Altuve and you can make it work. So, yeah.
No, I like that. That's a good. We could talk for hours about that, but we're not going to do that today. So, you've kind of alluded to it already, but you have been someone who's been very active in the community since when you were playing, but since you've retired as well. You talked about Loyal to My Soil, this organization you started. What is Loyal to My Soil, and why did you start it?
Yeah, Loyal to My Soil is a community-based program where we basically try and grow the game, baseball and softball, in underserved communities. We look at the biggest factors that are prohibiting people from playing, cost and access to play, and just cut those out of the equation. We're doing free camps, we're donating equipment, we're bringing back pros. Current, former players get on the field. Instead of looking on TV and looking up to these people, if you're in the community, there's tons of us out here that have played at the highest level, that have lots of knowledge about the game, and we just come to you. And there's no home field. We're all over the place. We've been up and down the Bay Area, up to Sacramento, expanded out to Hawaii.
Hawaii with it,
you know
yes,
what I mean?
sir.
So it's like, how do we empower people in the community to grow the game in their hometown and get kids excited to play?
I love the message behind it, and I think more pros and just even young college and high school guys should take inspiration from it. And I hope from what you've been doing, more people, once they get into pro ball or get to the big leagues, they can do something similar or even better in their community as well. And I just want to shout you out for that, because Loyal to My Soil is a big deal, especially in the Bay Area. But for everyone watching that's not from the Bay and just in the U.S. or anywhere, take notice to what Tyson's doing. Look up Loyal to My Soil, check it out. If you have any questions, hit him up, hit me up, hit any of us up, and we can get you informed.
Just to jump off of that, but I mean, honestly, what you guys are doing with
The clinics,
with the pros, it's the same thing. Like, people can give back. I'm trying to show people it's okay to get out there and do something for someone else. You don't have to charge them for it. It doesn't matter how much you know or don't know. If you know the game any bit, you can give back.
Facts.
Kids just need access to play. They just need someone that cares, someone that's going to tell them, hey, keep swinging, man. You missed that ball. It's all right. Just keep swinging. And so when you can take action and get out there, that's where the biggest impact is going to be felt. You don't have to wait for someone else to do it or go to this specialist over here. If there's an infield and you got a bucket of balls, like, you can make an impact. Like, when I was, and he was a big leaguer at the time, but like my senior year of high school, Sean Dunston had just retired from playing shortstop for 20 years in the major leagues. And two of my high school teammates were like, hey, Tyson, you want to hit batting practice? And then I just heard muffled sounds, right? I didn't know they said Sean Dunston's down in Fremont and he wants to throw batting practice to us. We've gone a couple times, like you want to come hit with us? I just heard batting practice. I was like, yeah, I'm there. Tell me when. And so I drive down to Fremont. I don't even know what I'm doing other than someone's going to throw me some pitches, right? And we pull up and like Big Sean's pulling out, buckets of pearls out of the back of a Hummer. And I'm like, what's happening right now? And so he's out there, he's just ripping heaters for us.
He throws cheese, doesn't he?
He's got a cannon. He still has a cannon.
I love it.
He's old now, and he'll come off the couch, still throw fuzz. But like all it took was him that just wanted to grow the game and share his love of baseball with us and throw some batting practice. And like, that's all it took, man. And like that, from 2005 when I was hitting batting practice with him, I've been friends with him ever since. He was obviously coaching in San Francisco when I was coming up with the A's and playing against them, and he's got a couple of rings from that time. His son and my younger brother are like really good friends. And so it's just like, you never know what can spawn from just sharing your love of the game with someone else. And it's amazing to look at.
Hey, shout out Cal Berkeley. That's actually funny timing. But building off of that, I think it's important to note that the main thing he's saying is just spreading the love for the game. And it obviously the pros out there, the professional players, high level college players, do the most you can to give back. But at the same time, if you played anywhere, and even if you didn't even play high school, if you just have some type of love for the game and are willing to do your research, look into different skills, techniques, do your best to spread that love. Find a way, find an avenue, something like Loyal to My Soil, or just go to an open field and hit kids ground balls. Like, do anything you can to express that love, because that's what the game needs, and that's what kids need truly, to not just advance in baseball but in life too. That love for the game can spread. It's bigger than baseball. Like, we've been, if there's one message from this, it's that it's bigger than baseball.
That's facts.
Yeah. uh, Building off of that, do you have any goals for the future, not just Loyal but just for yourself as well?
Yeah, just continuing to find a way to make an impact.
Yeah.
You know, as one person, like I can physically only do so much, but like with a community, as you've seen with your camps, you have the ability to leverage 40 people to come out and give to a greater
Good.
yeah. And so it's like what's next for me? Like doing camps with Loyal is great, but like how do I really create this baseball renaissance in Oakland? How do I empower others to make that happen? Like I can't be down there raking the fields and
You can't
coaching
be in
every
multiple
day.
places at one time.
Yeah,
It's just
but it's like what do people need, and how can I help leverage what I've built to get them what they need?
you're doing the steps are in place, and you're doing the right things to make the future brighter. And I just want people to know, like, to rock with Loyal to My Soil, and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a good message behind it, and it's something that, building off what I was just saying, it's bigger than baseball. This same concept can be explored in basketball, math class, like whatever kids find joy in. How do you elevate that? How do you find a way to elevate your community? For you, it's baseball. For myself, it's baseball. But I think it's like through stuff like this, trying to get your message out to a larger audience, and just hopefully the people watching can feel the impact you're talking about and just do something of their own, do something bigger, better. Don't limit yourselves. That's what the main thing I've started to learn is that a lot of people are afraid to do, a lot of pro guys specifically want to do stuff like Loyal and do camps like that, but they don't know where to start.
That's the hard part. Yeah.
That's the hardest part. You really need, any pro guy out there, you need a team in place, or just make yourself available. My first camp, we had about 5-6 kids. That's nothing, you know?
Mhm.
And so, but it has to start somewhere. And that's the biggest thing. Start somewhere and then just let it evolve. Just stay consistent with it. I had to throw it in there.
Yeah.
If you stay consistent with your grind and you truly have the love of the game as your main avenue, good things will come from it. And even if it starts small, don't let it stop you. Like, continue to spread that love. That's the best way to put it, you know?
Yeah, and don't be afraid to work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
I mean, like what we're trying to do with Loyal is bring it to you. You were out there in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You saw what it was. All you got to do is, if you tap in with someone in the community, if you're a pro athlete and you're like, man, I want to do this and this and this for my community, I don't know where to start, hit me up.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do is help
That's
empower
exactly
you
what you're doing
to grow whatever you're trying to do in your community. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like we've created a blueprint that can be plugged and played anywhere.
This is nationwide too. Like, anybody who's
Yeah,
played, they could.
We did it in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, bro. It's easy.
That's what
It's
I'm
easy
saying.
to take a train or a bus somewhere. It was hard to ship
That's
all
the
that
true
equipment.
test.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it's just like learn from others that are doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
You can reach out to people. That's the beauty of the age we're in now. You can reach out on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying is like there's all these avenues of ways to learn from other people that are doing what you want to do, or doing something adjacent to what you want to do. And a lot of times people want to help. If you see that someone has the interest and the drive and just needs some direction, like, I'm here to help.
Yeah. Anybody watching this, hit up Tyson, hit up me, hit up anybody affiliated with Loyal to My Soil, and we can at least help you, put you in the right direction. And that's where it starts, in my opinion. And as long as you're doing that, we're taking the right steps, the future will be better, not just for the game, but the world itself by creating better human beings. You feel me? All right, getting close to the end. I like to end every show with 5 quick questions that he doesn't know. He has no idea about any of these. You ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, first one. I ask everyone this though. Who are your top 5 MLB players of all time? Your personal list. It doesn't have to be, oh, I think Babe Ruth's the best. Who's your top 5 personal?
Ricky Henderson, Tony Gwynn,
Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay. 2 more.
I was a big. I didn't pitch until later, so I wasn't really paying attention to the pitchers until later. But then I'll go with 2 guys that I've played with and against is Clayton Kershaw
Oh, sweet.
and Buster Posey.
Solid list.
Yeah.
Solid list for sure. All right. Next one. Who are your top 3 favorite music artists that you listen to?
Man, music's always evolving for me. Right now, Russell's been huge.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since COVID. Something different, someone independent, doing it his own way, breaking all the rules when it comes to running a business and you know, being prosperous because he did it that way. He was a big inspiration with everything I was doing with Loyal and continue to do. So he's high up there.
I love it.
Let me think. Right now, Kanye, always crazy, but different.
Yeah.
And doing it his way. And then someone new, which is funny, but like Tyler, the Creator, just what he's been doing.
He just dropped
recently.
some new stuff.
Yeah.
I love it.
Is dope, and just his ability to always be swimming against the current and thriving because he does it that way.
Yeah, stand out.
Yeah.
Main takeaway from that, stand out. Find your way, find your lane, bro. All right, next one. I'm interested to see this one. If you had top 3 or just maybe one, what are your top 3 favorite book recommendations? Oh.
Top 3
or
books.
it could just be one. If you can only think of one, it's all good.
I read a lot.
Yeah.
Mindset by Carol Dweck.
Okay.
She talks about a growth versus a fixed mindset. So, you know, a growth mindset is I can't like a fixed mindset is I can't dunk. You're period. Just
You're
never
stuck
gonna
in
do
that
it.
lane. Yeah.
If you're like I can't dunk yet, you have a growth mindset. Like there's steps that can be taken to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest ones for me. There's a few books. There's one Siddhartha that someone told me to read back in the day, and you know it was just about this man that was always on this journey. He's looking for that next best thing, but like what he's really looking for is like the presence of right now.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then I mean, there's so many different books. Like your third book or my third book is something that really helped me in my career, and that was Downright Filthy Pitching by Perry Husband.
Okay.
And it was literally just a textbook on how to get hitters out and what as a hitter you're trying to be on time.
Yeah.
And it was a book on disrupting timing of hitters. And literally all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, like this is a cheat code I've been looking for. I had this stuff, but it's like, how do I use it? And it basically taught me where I need to put the ball, how do I set up hitters, how do I speed them up, how do I slow them down. And all these listeners, maybe there's a couple pitchers that want to pick it up. It's grindy to get through, but read something that's your passion, that's your craft that you're trying to develop. Just find something, because there's tons of information out there. Don't take the 3-second Instagram reel and think it's going to fix you. But
what's wrong with people now?
Take the stuff that's hard to digest, and you got to read that page over and over again. And yeah, you'll learn some stuff.
I love it. Implement it too. Read a book and implement it in your real life. There's 2 little keys. All right, 2 more questions. What's your favorite thing about Oakland?
The people.
Yeah.
You know, wherever you're from, you meet someone from Oakland, you're proud of being from Oakland. And I think, unfortunately, we lost every team we got, but the people are still there, and that's what matters most. I think that pride of Oakland is not going to die out, and we got to find the next thing to channel that energy into.
I wasn't going to ask this, but you just brought it to my attention. With Oakland losing all 3 teams, what do you think the future is for Oakland, and how do you think we take the right steps in the right direction to lift it up? Or just how do you see the future being for Oakland now that we've lost 3 major league teams?
Yeah, I mean, like as a fan, like Oakland had tons of championships. It's tough to lose the sports teams, but like we got to take action as people. We can, like, you know, I don't want to get into politics. The government in Oakland has been messed up for a long time. Things have been trending in the wrong direction, but the people remain, and the power's with the people. If we want to make some positive things happen, you know, you've done free camps, I've done free camps. There's all these people that are independently doing things. If we can come together and collaborate on things, that's where the power is. If we can work together and find ways to really make an impact, you know, as one, as a community, that's how we can turn the city around.
And it's bigger than sports too. That's another thing. It's what he's saying is for everyone watching, not just athletes and not just people around athletics. It's just, you can do this at your public library. You can do this at your local high school. Find whatever that you think can help in any way. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But coming together, finding a way to collab and raise up the community, I think is the main takeaway from what I just took from you.
Yeah.
All right, last question. What are your top 3, if you were to talk to a younger player, young kids at the camp, what are the top 3 keys to make it in baseball or just in life that you would recommend for any kid who's looking to play at a high level, from college, pro ball, or just do anything extraordinary?
Definitely, you gotta do it with passion. If you're just doing it, going through the motions, it's not going to work. Whether it's doing your homework or, you know, trying to hit a baseball, doing it with passion is definitely number one.
I love it.
Learn from others.
Yeah.
If I'm at practice and I'm watching you learn, I can learn from what you're learning. Don't just sit there in your own world, wait for your turn, get your 3 swings and think, okay, that's my time to learn this. You know, learn from others, learn from their successes and learn from their mistakes. And then lastly, you got to have fun. It's always got to be fun. And there's plenty of times in baseball when it's not fun, when you're, you know, watching the guys just round the bases after a grand slam, or, you know, you're getting pulled mid-inning, whatever it is. Like, there have been dark times for me in baseball, but like, the easiest way out of it was find a way to have fun. And if you have fun in your practice, in your preparation, in your recovery, whatever it is, like, if you can bring fun into the equation, that's a good way to move forward in baseball and in life.
No, I love it. That's for everyone watching. Note that down. Write it down one time. So 2 things: read a book, write it down, and it'll help you. In just the main takeaway I'm taking from all of this is just collaboration. Raise up your community. Find different ways to be creative and do stuff bigger than make an impact on the next generation, and just try and find different ways to do that. And I want to give you your flowers because he's been doing a great job, not just in Oakland, but just in the baseball community, and just being accessible. And just, I feel like a lot of people can learn from your message and just what you're doing, not just during your playing time, but now that you're done playing and off the field stuff. It's almost like you said, a blueprint for players playing right now and that are going to go through the same process you did. This guy's an MLB All-Star, top pick, been through what a lot of you guys have been through. So if there's anybody to listen to, it's one of Oakland's best. So you have a final message for the people? I'm hyping them up right now. You have a final message, or just one final message?
I think something that we can all do is, if you plant a seed today for shade for someone in the future to enjoy, that's an impact that goes beyond yourself.
Facts.
I mean, it's like, look where we're at right now.
Beautiful.
I don't know who put these seeds here back in the day, but we're enjoying them, you know, years and years later.
Exactly.
So it's like you know, it's that ripple effect. You do something today that can impact a ton of people down the road, go ahead and take action.
I love it. Shout out Tyson Ross. This is No Agenda. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming on. Follow Loyal to My Soil. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Consistent Network. We out.
Mama, I made the network.